the interim TNT championship was the first match. We know the story that it was supposed to be Cody and Sammy Guevara in the rematch of the match they just had 2 weeks ago that nobody was really clamoring for a rematch on. And then Cody becomes quarantined due to their medical protocol. There was a 1 day, I think, tease there where, who is it? We were pulling for Riho to go into quarantine. But unfortunately, it was Cody.
What do you think it is? I mean, we just saw this happen when Chris Jericho oversees a non-COVID medical issue. They did not give us that here. So I'll give you the two options once again.
Well, no.
Is this COVID or syphilis?
What? If it could only be the simple syphilis. No, they said on something, on Twitter or somewhere, that he's in quarantine because he was somewhere, if family was exposed or someone in his circle was exposed, or that's the story that they were telling at that point. I don't know, but it is COVID related.
Yeah, that super spreader wedding from what I hear. But anyway, hopefully he'll be back soon.
Did they have another wedding? They must be shooting the reality show again. Well, why else would you have a wedding? Anyway, so Cody's quarantined. So they announced that Dustin will take his place. Okay, and honestly, Dustin Rhodes is incredible at this stage of his life, what condition he's in, and he's always been a fantastic worker. But, I mean, he's not positioned in this company as a marquee value name. He's brought out every so often to have a great match with whoever he's in the ring with. And yes, he's Cody's brother, but this was supposed to be, I'm just thinking like this is not, maybe the network has taken the tact with Battle of the Belts. Okay, we promised them, even though now we're not moving both their shows. Now we're stuck with an hour of this shit on Saturday nights every 3 months. If they're taking that attitude, then maybe Tony said, well, fuck them then. If they're being like that, then I'll give them what they think they're getting, another blasé bullshit wrestling show on a Saturday night. But if this was supposed to be the launch and kickoff of a major series of quarterly specials in prime time on Saturday nights, what the fuck? This was compared in concept, certainly not in execution, but in concept, when it was first announced, this was compared to the old Clash of Champions specials. And we mentioned a week or two ago, at that time, there were no live telecasts of major house show level events except for pay-per-view. And that had only been around for a couple of years. It was revolutionary. And the first Clash of Champions was 2.5 hours long. And it got one of the biggest ratings of wrestling in the 80s on any television past the Saturday night's main events on NBC, that because of the network reach, you couldn't touch on cable. Flair and Sting topped out at what was it? It was a 7.8 rating, but how many people was that? Close to 9 million people, I think, at one point.
I forget off the top of my head.
Something you actually forgot off the top of your head. But nevertheless, this was not the Clash of Champions, and they start out and creating the interim TNT TV champion. Cody's quarantined. He's not goddamn on Gilligan's Island. He can be back in 2 weeks. They don't even do the champion must defend a title in 30 days rule anymore for anybody.
CDC recommends 5-day quarantine now.
Yeah, but
interim champion
till next Wednesday. Because it had to be Battle of the Belts. See, they tied themselves to a concept. And here's another thing. The actual original Battle of the Belts special, I don't think every match on that show was for a belt. It was headlined by Flair and Wyndham for the world title.
That was Battle of the Belts 2, wasn't it?
Well, that was 2. Okay. But point is, all 6 matches on these shows were not for a belt in my memory. But here it has to be for the interim TNT title because it has to be for a belt. So the interim champion till next Wednesday is still Sammy Guevara. Or is Sammy Guevara. Again, not only was this okay, if there was a marquee main event on the program, this might have been okay because it would. Dustin's great and we like Sammy, but both of them allowed their worst instincts to prevail, and there's nobody in charge there because Tony has no balls and he claims to book, but he doesn't tell his guys what they can do and what they can't do, which means he's not the booker. So in the match, some fucking midget came to ringside apropos of nothing and set up a table at ringside in a babyface match. Dustin Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara.
No.
What?
He didn't come to ringside. According to what the commentator said, that was Fuego El Sol, or Del Sol, I'm not even sure. Fuego Del Sol, I believe. He came out from under the ring. They said he was under the ring the whole time.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Well, in a babyface match, a midget in a mask comes out from under the ring and sets up a table at ringside, and then Arn chases him off, but that's an excuse for Dustin Rhodes to give Sammy Guevara a Canadian destroyer off the apron through the table and then roll him in the ring and get a 2 count.
Let me I'm sorry.
I just, that's the point I said I'm done, but go ahead.
I just want to say, wasn't the only table spot. Also, this is the same week a guy's arm broke in half on TV because of a stupid, unnecessary table spot. Important to bring up, I think.
Yes! So let's do more of them. So anyway, I was done with that. I don't know what happened otherwise, and I know Sammy was holding the belt up at the end. I don't care. Even Dustin has to prove to the young kids that he can still go and that he's not an old dinosaur, and he's open to new ideas to the point where now, instead of them learning from him about what not to do, he's learning shit that he shouldn't do from them. Go ahead.
Well, guys who are hanging on have to do what they have to do. I mean, there's a saying, I don't want to name other guys because some of them you're friends with. I was about to say something, but I won't. After the match, Daniel Garcia ran in and attacked Sammy. So that's the next one they're building up, Sammy and Daniel Garcia.
I swear to fucking Christ. Oh, my God.
No 2.0. He was on his own.
Still, it's every fucking week, every show. We can't find Jay Lethal with a fingerprint kit and a GPS. But all right.